My name is Javalis Ruiz, and I will be presenting my PowerPoint on Facebook privacy and the ethical perspective of using user info for commercial marketing purposes. In this presentation, we'll be discussing the problem of if the use of data from Facebook and other websites for commercial marketing purposes is ethical. I will also be discussing 4 areas of concentration in this presentation, which includes the background and significance. This section will include why this is an issue and the problems Facebook has been involved with in the past. The second section I will be covering is ethical analysis. In this section, we will be discussing if the use of user data for commercial marketing purposes is ethical. Next, I will analyze the counter argument where I will explain why Facebook likely believes their decision were ethically correct. And lastly, I will talk about a global analysis on how other countries have been affected by this issue and what is being done to resolve it. Background and significance. So first I would like to explain what is commercial marketing. Commercial marketing is the sale of products and services to end users, and this technique is used in social media by providing users info to third-party organizations. This gives third-party companies access to user info, and it allows them to personalize advertisements to users to sell them products. Terms and conditions of social network websites, including Facebook, have users' data available to third parties. Therefore, accepting these terms legally allows third parties to have access to the online users' personal information. Facebook has been caught in a series of scandals for sharing private user info with third parties throughout the years, and they have been giving access to these third parties without users' consent or awareness. For example, the Cambridge Analytica scandal, Facebook had previously provided unauthorized access of 87 million users' personal info to Cambridge Analytica. Many of these users were unaware that their info had even been leaked. Um, Even computer users without Facebook accounts were affected because companies' websites who have Facebook linked on it um, had given access to user info that way. Ethical analysis. So people make ethical decisions every day, which is why people have developed theories on these ethical decisions and why people make certain decisions. One of the approaches is the rights approach. In this approach, it protects the rights of those affected, but the cons of it is that any person or group can have their own opinion on what individuals should have the rights to do. And this defect leads to people having different ethical conclusions to a certain situation. So, for example, in the commercial marketing issue, users felt that they were affected by having their personal information shared to third parties. Um, And according to the ACM Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct, it states that computing professionals should establish transparent policies and procedures that allow individuals to understand what data is being collected and how it is being used. And Ethics Principle 1.6 states to respect privacy. So even though companies have the access to user info, it doesn't mean that it's ethically correct for them to use it. So they should always be transparent about their policies, and users should have the control of it. They should be notified, and they should be disclosed of what personal information is being used. Okay, counter argument. So Facebook's defense on why they sell consumer information to third parties is that it's to provide useful advertised goods to users. Their ethical decision to do this can be explained by using the deontological approach. This theory explains how decision makers choose to make a certain decision because they have good intentions when performing the actions despite their consequences. They believe it is their duty to perform the action. So, creator of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, stated in a Facebook post that We have a responsibility to protect people's privacy. We already worked hard to live up to this responsibility, but we are now going to set a completely new standard to these responsibility. So basically, this post suggests that Facebook intention was always to keep users' information protected. However, others disagree with their actions, but they genuinely thought that they were doing what was ethically correct. They did not feel that they compromised people's information by their actions. So they feel like users' privacy had never been violated and their actions were ethically correct. Okay, so global analysis, users across the globe have been affected by this problem um, because Facebook and all these other social networking websites are globally recognized. Some countries that are making efforts to resolve these privacy issues is the United States and some European countries, which include Belgium, Netherlands, France, Germany, and Spain. Okay, so the European consumer privacy efforts. So due to the public's privacy concerns, has passed the General Data Protection Regulation. This regulation requires companies to make specific disclosures on how data is being collected from users. So that includes Facebook. Facebook would be required to ask permission to release consumer data to third parties, and after they are asked for permission, they will also have to disclose what information is being collected exactly. Then users would have to approve that they are letting their information be used and given to outside parties. Even then, no users will be targeted because the information is collected and then merged with other users who have similar demographics and interests. And then users will be allowed through this regulation to also delete their information at any times. If a company were to refuse to comply with this regulation, they can be penalized up to 4% of the company's annual revenue. And for companies as big as Facebook, this can amount to billions of dollars. So United States and their consumer privacy efforts. So the United States is also making efforts to improve its citizens' privacy online. The Federal Trade Commission has an agreement with Facebook that will reduce the sharing of consumer info to third parties. They have also enforced for Facebook to have a privacy committee appointed by the FTC and officers as well, and they will oversee that their agreement is being followed. Facebook will also be subject to an annual review by the FTC every year, and um, California has also proposed an act that will require companies to put a button on their home pages, and once that button is clicked, it will prohibit the sale of their user information to outside parties. Um, Although they're proposing this act, Facebook refuses to make any changes to their website because, according to California law, they do not sell data. And this is still being debated on whether they actually do sell data. Okay, so to conclude, technology has contributed to the creation of the selling of user data for commercial marketing purposes because um, social media has become essential to businesses. So also, Internet of Thing devices has increased tremendously throughout the years. In 2003, there were only 500 million devices, Internet of Thing devices, and that has increased to 8 billion in 2017. So, to be part of this era, this digital era, users have been accepting terms and conditions without really evaluating them and seeing what they entail. So this gives websites such as Facebook and other social platforms the legal rights to use their information for marketing purposes because they are not reading the terms and conditions. So in this presentation, I discussed why the selling of this data is a privacy concern. I discussed ethical analysis from different perspectives and the global analysis of how countries are affected And then these are my references. Thank you.